So if Ghostface ever called me and said, "What's your favorite scary movie?" I feel like my answer would honestly quite surprise him. Because I'd probably say, "Why don't you come around? I'll put on something sexy, order some pizza, maybe even make some popcorn. And if you keep that mask on and keep that voice going, something else may even happen. If you behave yourself, maybe I won't stab you first." But unfortunately for Sidney Prescott, Ghostface is not looking for a movie night. He's back again in Scream 7, 30 years after the original film changed horror forever. Let's talk about whether this movie is a killer return to form, or if the franchise might finally be running out of tricks. Hello, boys and girls, witches and vampires, goblins and ghouls, and welcome to the nightmare. I'm Jess, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about Scream 7, which celebrates its 30th anniversary of the franchise beginning with its first movie in 1996. And fortunately for us, this film brings back some very familiar faces. The biggest headline here is the return of Neve Campbell as, of course, Sidney Prescott. This time, Sidney isn't alone. She has a teenage daughter named Tatum, clearly named after her best friend from the original film. This movie is directed by Kevin Williamson, the original creator of Scream, making this his first directorial debut. And of course, Roger Jackson returns as the voice of Ghostface, which of course would not feel right without him. Courtney Cox also returns as Gail Weathers in this last installment and latest installment, which her role in this film is a little bit different than the others. Unbelievably, this movie is the fastest one in the franchise to hit $100 million, believe it or not, doing so in just 15 days. So before we dive even further into this video, I just want to let everyone know there are definitely some spoilers that are going to be talked about today. So if you haven't seen it yet, maybe go see it and then come back and enjoy this video. This time around, there are 3 Ghostface killers. There's Jessica Bowden, who is Sidney's neighbor, Margot Davis, a horror fanatic completely obsessed with the Stab franchise movies. Killers also use some very modern techniques to torment Sidney and all the others throughout the entire film. In this film, they use AI deepfakes, specifically of Stu Macher, one of the killers from the original Scream movie, which immediately raises a huge question. Is Stu Macher actually still alive? There are actually quite a few things I liked about this movie. The idea that Stu Macher could still be alive is honestly wild. But let's be honest, it's just one of the twists that Scream movies kind of try to pull off and sometimes do get away with. There's also a really nostalgic moment towards the end of the film, where some of the previous characters from the other Scream movies start appearing on electronic devices all throughout Sidney's house, which just kind of brings back the history of the Scream franchise and kind of ties everything together, in my opinion. Another great callback is towards the end, again, when Sidney's daughter Tatum is tied up in the backyard, which is, of course, the way the first person was killed in the first ever Scream movie back in 1986. This film also brings back one of the classic rules from the franchise, which is you always have to shoot him in the head. And yes, that rule becomes very important in the very final confrontation. Tatum even gets a great and I think iconic line in the movie, which is, "I'm Sidney fucking Prescott's daughter." However, I feel this movie definitely has some pretty big plot holes. For example, Ben, Tatum's boyfriend, why is he creating the AI videos? Is he trying to remake them to prove that they're AI and it's not actually Stu? That question kind of goes unanswered. It's a little weird in my opinion. Is he experimenting with the technology? Is he trying to recreate the original killings? They don't make it very clear. Another weird part in the movie and kind of like a hole in the storyline, if you want to say, in the plot, is that Sidney states that Tatum is her oldest child. Where are her other children in the whole movie? They're not in the house. They're not mentioned that they're staying with a relative or anything. It's just her husband Mark, and her daughter Tatum. Another strange detail in this film is they state that Stu Macher's autopsy papers were lost. Are they hinting that there might be another Scream movie, possibly Scream 8? Who knows? I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Another issue with this film is that Sidney's husband, Mark, is supposed to be the chief of police in their town. Their house is supposed to be very secure. You know, they know that they're being threatened. They have precautions. They have a security system. But yet somehow Ghostface is able to sneak into the house and hide in the attic unsuspectingly, and the cops are watching the house. To me, it just doesn't really make a lot of sense. So another odd part in the movie to me is when Gail finally gets to interview Sidney. After all these years, she's been begging for an interview, right? Sidney finally decides to do the interview in an attempt to get the supposed Stu Macher to call her, right? And that happens, and then, he's like, I have Tatum or whatnot. I'm going for your daughter. And with everything going on, Sidney leaves the news station, and Gail just stays there. She doesn't go after her. She doesn't try to help take down Ghostface or protect Tatum or Sidney or help in any way. And then she's gone for, the ending of the movie, and then comes back afterwards. So it's like, what the hell was Gail Weathers doing the whole time? Just hanging out at the news station? It's a little odd in my opinion. Lastly, I wanted to talk about Mark, Sidney Prescott's husband and police chief. So he gets stabbed pretty severely. I mean, profusely bleeding, right? How did he survive that? The loss of blood was just extreme. And then he manages to make it to the end of the film and help Tatum escape from the chair when she's being held by the Ghostface killers. And to me, it's just another thing that Scream does. They make the impossible possible somehow. So one of the strangest reveals in the film involves Jessica Bowden, Sidney Prescott's neighbor. So she actually kills her own son Lucas and justifies it by saying he was becoming too much like his father. So Jessica also confesses in the movie that she was inspired by Sidney's book called Out of Darkness, and it gave her the courage to finally kill her abusive husband. This is definitely one of the darker twists in the movie. So despite what I said about the plot holes and the things I pointed out about this film, I actually really did enjoy it. Listen, it's Scream, it's fun, it's weird sometimes, but overall, it just brought back that nostalgic feeling. And I think some of the characters that they brought back helped me enjoy it, and also a lot of fans too. So I don't know, some people enjoyed it, some people didn't, but I honestly did enjoy it, and I'm glad that I took the time to watch it. Overall, Scream 7 is a bit of a mixed bag. There are some fun callbacks, nostalgic moments, and interesting ideas like the AI deepfake storyline. But there are also quite a few plot holes and unanswered questions. Still, if you're a fan of the franchise, there's enough here to enjoy. And the ending definitely feels like it's setting up something bigger, possibly even Scream 8. But what did you think? Did Scream 7 revive the franchise, or is Ghostface finally running out of ideas? So I want to know down in the comments below, did you guys like this movie or not? And thank you so much for watching. And please go ahead and like and subscribe. And until next time, and until another awesome, amazing horror review video, bye-bye. And escape sick. So if Ghostface... so if